Hello, and welcome to LD, the 1955 list LD1 restoration part 3 now. As you can see, I've got the block here. And what I've done to it is I chucked it in the parts washer and tried to clean it up as best I can with parts washing fluid. I will go over it again and take the gaskets off. That way then I can clean all the paint off, and then what I'll do then is I'll chuck it in again. That there will take away all the dust and residue from the paint stripping process. So I'll chuck that in again, get rid of all the oil, stop the paint sticking, take it off these wooden skids for the last time. Cleaned up the tank as well, not too bad. Same with that, clean it up, spray it. Also I've got the fan here, I did chuck that in the parts washer. What I'm going to do with this fan is, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm going to spray it. I'm going to spray an etch primer because it's aluminium. Quite a heavy piece of aluminium at that. Well made. Then I'm going to spray an etch primer, and I'll spray it silver. Then it was originally, I can't see any paint on it, so I suppose stop it corroding. It shouldn't do, but if it does, like get the old rust patch. I'll spray it in etch primer and then just spray it in silver, so that'll make it look stand out, nice behind the flywheel. Also some of the guards in here, we'll go over some of the stuff again, I suppose. Clean it all up properly. Well, I only gave them a quick wash last night, so clean it over again. Yeah, I've done that, so I'll get back to you. As you can see, I've got the cylinder head in the parts washer. I've just got that resting on something down there, and the little washers keep it up. Yeah, that's just left to soak overnight. I've left that in there to soak, and I'll just take the valves out and give it a good clean. Barrel I've been working on last night. Piston there, taking all the rings off. They're there. So I'm just going to clean the blackening up. Not too bad, that's pretty much almost as it came out the engine. Clean it up. Won't worry about that much in there because that's just hardened in there. But I don't think this engine's done a lot of work, to be honest, because as you can see, it's a camera focus, Lister, genuine part. There's no marking saying it's a camshaft side, no marking saying it's a oversized piston, so I shall assume it's standard to get rings for it. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4 rings there. Top one's the wide one, and you got a thin compression ring, 2 oil scrapers. Actually, the piston's got oil scraper, 2 compression, and a third big compression. Don't ask me why there's 2 different size compression rings, because I don't know myself. If anyone has got a reason why they put 2, then please share. Also, I did put the flywheel down in the parts washer as well. I'll go over that again to make sure, because once you wash it you don't know what oil's still on it because it's like wet, and you see here it's wet, so it could be all covered in oil still, or you've got to leave it dry off and then see if it is dry and no oil on it, you just go, right, that's that job done. Also, what else have we done in here? Yet cowling, did that, done the extension shaft. There's the fuel pump housing in there, cleaned up, not looking too bad. I'll just clean the gaskets up now, strip it for painting. Parts washer again, same story with that. I haven't done the starting handle. There's the rocker box cover thing, rocker cover, so we're going to do that as well. Done that, so I've done really a fair bit of work. That's all cleaned up, looking pretty decent. In there it looks all fairly decent. It's just a case of cleaning that up now, paint wise, and giving it a last wash, and it should be, maybe this weekend I'll go and get some etch primer for when I start stripping the paint. I do want to get I want to get some etch primer. I'll get the exhaust as well. That's not going to be used again, that's just like temporary exhaust. I just put on it for running purposes. Also got the air filter do. We've got rust holes in it. It's all been worked loose, so I've got a welder washer behind that. Sort that out. So yeah, so it's still a bit of work to do. But really the only thing that's holding me back is piston rings. So I'm going to get the piston rings sorted out. So I'll see you when I do some more progress. Best I could, I think. Trying to get in there is a bit of a pain, but a bit of parts washing fluid left in there, as you can see. But cleaned that best I could. No black lines on it anymore. I think it just feels better if it's clean. I don't think it really matters how bad it is, which is all cleaned up. Now, I don't use sandpaper to clean that up. I use what Dad calls Scotch-Brite. They use it in the, I believe it's called Scotch-Brite anyway, but they use it in the body shop industry, and it doesn't mark the piston at all. It doesn't like sandpaper scratches. It's like a very, very light but really effective. They used it on the CS as well to clean it up, but clean the piston up in that. But it's very, very good. Just takes away the carbon nicely, but doesn't damage the metal. So you've got the stubborn stuff here, but you can't do nothing about that. You see everything a bit clearer now. Focus. See if I can focus it.
What do you fancy for dinner? Search dinner for
camshaft side. Out there is the Lister patented. So yeah, so we got. So now that's that one done. Just I'll wrap her up and just put her somewhere safe and wait for the rings. Once the rings are in, I'll gap the rings. Hope by that time I should be ready to reassemble the rest of the engine. So I'll continue on with the rest of them doing up. I'll probably start degreasing and do the head as well. So I'll continue degreasing. I've got the bore here now, and what I'm going to do is the same thing as what I did with the piston, just clean the bore up. I will give it, I might borrow my granddad's honer and just give it a quick hone. But what I want to do is get rid of all this carbon deposit up here, which I'll same again, I'll just use a Scotch-Brite, and being a cast bore it won't damage it too much. The piston does not, the top of the stroke does not come up to here, but that's there is the bottom ring groove. As you see, you got where it burns a bit cleaner over there. I think they're more the thrust sides of the piston, so the piston rubs more on this side of the bore. But all in all, it's a very good bore. This engine did have plenty of compression, but unfortunately, because the rings are a bit went funny, well broke, we have to get a new set. So my dad's on a lookout for new rings. I found a set, 50 quid, but for standard. But he thinks we can find them cheaper, so we're going to try and find them cheaper. So what I'll do for a minute now is just clean this bore up and get back to you. As you can see here, they've got the bore. You know, there's still a little bit there, but I might just give it a quick go over. But it's not, at the moment, it's not too bad. So I'll just put in the parts washer again and just clean it up. I'll give it a hone, a quick hone when I get the honer. It's just like a glaze buster is what they call it, I think. I don't know if it's a technical term, but that's what I've heard it called out. Just to get rid of the glaze, because the bore is not too bad. And also, what I'm going to do with this is when I degrease it and all that sort of stuff, I'm going to paint it in heatproof black. I thought it was originally painted heatproof black originally, or black, but judging around the top here it wasn't. But it may be, but I have to have a good look in better light. I think it might have been, but we're going to do it anyway in heatproof black just to protect it and make it look, you won't see much of the bore, but you probably just see like the odd corner of it. So if it's painted, then it will look decent. So I don't want this engine being a green blob, if you know what I mean, with a shiny flywheel rim and some polished brass. You give it different colours in different areas, like silver fan, of the silver fan, the black bore, and then you got the Lister transfer and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully it'll look too good, because they aren't the most light engine on the rally field, I think. These air-cooled diesels, but you don't see many of them on the rally field. They burn hardly any diesel, so cheaper to run, I think, than a petrol. Almost batting as cheap as a hit and miss if you run it on red, or if not cheaper than a hit and miss. So and plus once you fill it with oil, that's it, I think. Just top it up so you don't have to keep oiling the thing and greasing it. And once you leave the fuel in it, it's in there. So yeah, the first outing of this one, hopefully, if it's running, will be up the 1000 engine rally. So if you're ever up the 1000 engine rally this year, you might see this engine up here. So yeah, I'm going to continue on. I've got the 2000 now, as you can see. You can tell which one was which. Lid's marked behind, but here's the exhaust. Not bad seats, but you can tell it has been leaking past there a bit. All black and carboned up, but standard diesel engine. And here's the inlet, which is, well, actually clean as a whistle, to be honest. But I'm just going to grind her in, and it's not too bad. The seats aren't too bad in the head. As you can see, they're dual spring valves. I don't know why. They usually have them when cars stop, like valve bounce. But I think it's just because then you've got 2 springs, pressure, if you know what I mean. So you don't have to be as strong. You've got 2 lighter springs instead of 1 great big strong spring. Or also if one breaks, I suppose you've got the other one keeping the valve up, if you know what I mean. So like a safety feature maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'll show you the seats in the head. Here's the head. As you can see, this is the exhaust valve. Not looking too bad around there. We'll just give it a good clean up and see what's what. The inlet as well, pretty good, I must admit. Very good actually. No, hardly any pitting. I don't think there is any pitting on that one. But as you can see, the exhaust we can't tell until we clean it up, but doesn't feel too bad. So at the moment that looks promising, so that should just be a lapping in session, all ground in, and shouldn't be too bad. So yeah, we'll continue on. I'll probably clean the head up now, Scotch Brite it, make this all shiny and clean, and go from there. So okay, well I've cleaned the valves up now. As you can see, they're a bit better. There. That's the inlet one, and here's the exhaust. The exhaust still needs to be, well, I'll give it the Scotch Brite this again when it dries off to really give it a good clean, and then I'll grind them in. So I want to try and get them in the head as quick as I can. I want to get the engine probably up and running by end of April maybe. We'll go for a first start up by April, May time. So then it's ready for June, if you know what I mean. So it's all ready, rock and rolling, ready to go for June. That's the plan. If it will work, though, that's another question, but that's what we want to do. Really, it's the easy job is doing the engine. What I got to do then is, well, not my forte, I would say, is woodwork. We got to build the trolley, but Dad will give me a hand to do it. I'll try and build the trolley, same dimensions roughly as the Wolsey trolley, 3 foot long, steerable. And I got chicken house wheels to go on it, like 4-spoke 12-inch wheels. 4 of those, and that should do that. So yeah, I'll continue on with doing the rest of the engine, just degreasing bits and pieces. And when the head dries off, I'll lap all the valves in. Okay, here I have the starting handle, and what I've done is I locked the grip in the vise, take the grip off, just to crush it and take it off, because as you can see here, it's been heavily well, it's broken. It's been like that for a few years. It's worn into that position. But I have got a new grip, so what I'm going to have to do is put it on. And to do that, as these engines were probably just, the grip was put on and then you just cut that down, you know what I mean, like pressed it over. You can't take it out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grind this washer away at the end, put the grip on, and just weld a new washer on it. Get it nice, like sand the grip down so you get a nice smooth running. After I paint it and weld this and touch up where the jaws have clamped on this and this here, yeah, and then just weld it on, paint it black. As you see here, I don't know if there's any decent areas, maybe in there, don't know if you can see that. There's not oil in there. There's actually these handles were originally painted black, so Lister handles were painted black originally. From all the Lister handles I've had, I got my original Lister D handle, this year's handle, Lister A handle, all of them are painted black. So yeah, I'm going to carry on and degrease the handle. Okay, well I've cleaned the cylinder head up now. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner than what it was. It's all carboned up. It's all cleaned up now, ready for the valves to be ground in. So I'm just going to clean the valves up now and go from there.